Okay, math students, this is Mrs. Strickler, and we're back with lesson 8.5, which is about solving proportions. I'm sure you've probably seen this before, and in 6th grade or when you're in elementary school, and it's really not that hard. I know you all are going to do great at it.
Oh, are you teaching?
So, here's our directions. Use cross products. That was my husband, by the way. He's on a conference call. So we all have to be quiet for each other. All right, it just makes me laugh. Isn't this all kind of crazy? This whole way of life. We're all just figuring it out as we go and taking God's hand and trusting Him all the way. Okay, so we have 2 over 9 equals 3 over x. So to solve for x, I cross multiply and then I divide. Okay, so I would go 2 times x, which is 2x, and 9 times 3, that equals 27. Now I want to divide to get x alone, and I get 27 over 2, which is 13.5. Okay, you guys should be good doing that, so I'm going to let you do a couple OIOs, and then we'll come back in a minute. So here's number 1. C over 10 equals 3 over 4. And number 2, 4 over 5 equals 28 over x. Okay, so you can pause the video here and go ahead and do those problems. I'll just keep going in just a moment. I'm going to change colors. Ooh, we haven't had orange in a while. I'm going to try that. Okay. Okay, if you did those 2 problems, we're going to cross multiply. So I get c times 4 is 4c, and 10 times 3 is 30. So I have 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5. There's the first answer. Okay, over here, I'm going to cross multiply and get 4x. And then 5 times 28 is 140. So I divide by 4. And I get 35. Okay. I hope you were successful in doing those. Now we're going to do a couple of word problems. I'm going to change colors again. Okay. So here we have number 2 in our lesson. A person who weighs 105 pounds on Earth would weigh 17.5 pounds on the moon. How much would a 60-pound dog weigh? Okay. Let me write this a little better. Sorry for my writing. A person who weighs 105 pounds on Earth would weigh 17.5 pounds on the moon. How much would a 60-pound dog weigh? All right, well, that's kind of an amazing thing, walking on the moon. Have you copied that down now? I have some fun pictures to help us think about this. Okay, I'm sure you've seen something like this before, the man walking on the moon. And you know that there's so much less gravity there that everything weighs less. And people can jump big, make big, huge jumps. And I saw this other picture I thought was funny. Look at the dog. Can you imagine in a spacesuit, jumping, hopping, walking on the moon? And so that's what we're talking about. We're going to go back to our problem, and we're going to set it up. So we have a person compared to a dog. Okay? So we have a person on the moon. Well, let's do on Earth here. On Earth and a dog. Hang on. No, let's start over. I am so sorry. It's the end of the day. Okay, so we have Earth weight over moon weight. So for a person, that would be 105 over 17.5. If a 105-pound person, a typical 7th grader, would weigh 17.5 on the moon, how much would a 60-pound dog weigh on the moon? So this is the dog over here on the Earth, right? And we want to find out what the dog weighs on the moon. So we're going to cross multiply. So I've got 105 times x, and I'm going to multiply 60 times 17.5. Let's work that out. I've got a 0, 30, carry the 3, 45, carry the 4, 10, and I do 1 decimal. So that would be 1,050. Okay. So now I'm going to divide by 105. And if I do that, I get 10 pounds. So it's about 1/6 the weight. So a 60-pound dog would only weigh 10 pounds on the moon. Kind of crazy. How much would you weigh? Okay. We'll come back to that in a minute. All right, our last example is number 3. There are 50 penguins in an aquarium. The ratio of rock hopper penguins to African penguins. I guess those rock hoppers hop on rocks. Say that 3 times fast. Rock hopper, rock hopper, rock hopper. I did that good. How about hopper rock, hopper rock, hopper rock? Hey, I did that too. Of course, the hardest one is red leather, yellow leather. Can you say that 3 times fast? Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Mom and Dad, they want to hear you do that.
Oh, I think they very much want an interruption to their math lesson. Why don't you ask your family at home if they can say red leather, yellow leather 3 times fast? Okay, back to our problem. The ratio of rock hopper to African penguins is 3 to 7. Okay. How many rock hoppers, I guess we should capitalize that, do they have? Okay, I'll let you write that down for a moment. Okay. Now, what we're told is I have 50 penguins total. 50 penguins total. So I want to compare the total of each kind. So I have 50 penguins total. So I have totals over the number of rock hoppers. Okay? So I have 50 over x for one of my fractions. So 50 is the total number of penguins. And I don't know the total number of rock hoppers. What I do know is the ratio of 3 to 7. So when it says 3 to 7, and the words in the problem are rock hopper to African. So that means I have 3 rock hoppers for every 7 African penguins. Okay? So from that, I can come up with a total based on my ratio. For every 3 of one kind, I have 7 of another kind. Well, if I have 3 of one and 7 of another, what's the total of that ratio? 3 to 7 means I have 3 plus 7 total penguins. All right? So when they only give you one total and they give you the ratio, you can use the ratio to find out another total. So coming back up here, I've got 50 over x. I don't know how many total rock hoppers, but I do know the ratio tells me if I have 3 and 7, the total is 10. And then how many rock hoppers do I have in that ratio? I have 3. Okay, so now to solve for x, I would have 50 times 3 is 150. X times 10 is 10x. I divide by 10 and I get 15. So the total number of rock hoppers is 15. Okay, well, just to spice it up, I looked up a picture, and these are our 2 types of penguins. This one is the rock hopper, the one with all the fancy feathers on his head. I think there was one like that, I know there was, in Happy Feet. Have you all seen Happy Feet? And then this is the African. And this is a picture of them living side by side in an aquarium. So it actually is really something that does happen. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's do one more of those. This can be hard, so I want to do another one together. So let's do this. The ratio of acrylic paints 2 oil paints in a cabinet is 3 to 2. That's my ratio. There are 65 paints all together. How many are acrylic? Okay, you go ahead and write that down. The ratio, excuse me, of acrylic paints to oil paints is 3 to 2. My total here is 65. So I have that number. So when I'm thinking of a ratio, I'm going to have total of over the number of acrylic. Okay? So I have 65 over X. I don't know how many acrylic paints I have, and I want to figure that out. Now, the other thing I have again is my ratio. So I have 3 to 2, and that represents acrylic to oil. So for every 3 acrylic paints, I have 2 oil paints. Well, if I have 3 and 2, what's the total? 3 plus 2 is 5. So that is the total number in this ratio. For every 3 acrylic, there are 2 oil. All of them together would be 3 plus 2, which is 5. Now let's use that up here in my ratio. So then I have total is going to be 5. That goes on top. And my ratio tells me here that for acrylic, I have 3. So now I have my proportion. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. And I cross multiply and divide, so I get 5x equals 195, I believe. And I divide by 5, and x equals 39. So if there's a total of 65 paints, 39 are acrylic. All right. In the email, I'm going to send home your homework, and if you have any questions, you are always welcome to call me. Have a great Wednesday. Bye now.